Good morning. So as you can see, or as you've experienced, over the past couple weeks, we've been learning about satire. We've read two really good examples of satire used in two totally different ways. The first one was called A Modest Proposal by Jonathan Swift, which was done back in the 1700s, basically informing the people about how the British had treated the Irish, and satirically how to actually solve the problem of the famine and of the poverty going on in Ireland. The second was called The Lottery by Shirley Jackson, which was a short narrative story basically warning everybody about following tradition and following things that have always been done and never questioning them, because the outcome might not always be what you think it's going to be. For example, you and I think of winning the lottery and we're like, woohoo! But none of us, I believe, would want to win Shirley Jackson's lottery. Now, today, you're going to read a doc called Satire, Your Turn. And this is basically your turn to try writing using satire. So I thought I would go over the information with you just so that you can actually hear somebody saying the information, just in case there are points about the doc that you don't necessarily understand. So you are going to start trying to write a piece of satire. This means that you are going to be dealing with a societal problem. And it's a societal problem that you think. So it could be traffic jams across the city. It could be old and outdated sexist dress codes. It could be the idea that our healthcare system is always jam-packed and people aren't able to be seen quick enough. Basically, it's a problem that everyone in society is experiencing. It could be the idea that we're all using far too much technology. And so it's a societal problem that you think people need to be made aware of. And how you're going to treat that is you're going to treat it in a satirical way. You're going to point out an obvious way to solve something being absolutely ridiculous. For example, I would like to solve the strains on the healthcare system by doing what ancient tribes of Inuit people used to do by putting their elderly on an ice floe and setting them out into the middle of the Arctic. Now, the elderly always place a large strain onto the healthcare system because as you get older, your body starts to fail. And so an easier way of solving the strain on our healthcare system would be just to get rid of the older people at a certain point in time. For example, say when they were 80. So nobody after the age of 80 can actually receive healthcare. Now, you and I both know that that is absolutely ageist and ridiculous. However, it would be a satirical way in order to prove the point that we need to come up with obvious solutions. And within that proposal that you would do, you would point out facts about the healthcare system. Okay? Now, if you were going to do a story like that in terms of Shirley Jackson's narrative, you could be doing a story about somebody who is actually within that healthcare system that actually has people put on ice floes at the end of their lives so that they are no longer a burden. So there's two different ways of treating it. You are going to, first of all, choose. Do you want to do a proposal like Swift, which also has its benefits? It can be in first person. You can talk about I think, I believe, and it's the same as a speech. So the idea that you have a thesis, 3 main points about how you're going to solve it, and then you just basically are persuasive and prove your point. The second way is to do a narrative like Shirley Jackson. It can be more subtle in terms of how you're going to solve your problem. And you can use foreshadowing and you can use creativity. And you can always have that really big shock at the end, kind of like Shirley Jackson did when they all stoned Tess to death. Now, after you choose whether you're going to do Swift's proposal or a narrative like Jackson, you're then going to choose a topic, okay, which I said was a societal problem. And then you're going to go into Mindomo, and today you are only planning. Okay, so you are only planning what you are doing. You are not writing it quite yet. So if you are doing a Mindomo that is a proposal, in the middle it will have the bubble. So let's say it strains on the healthcare system. You will also put down this is going to be a proposal. And then you will have the 3 main bubbles offshooting from that to show me your 3 main points. After you show me your 3 main points, you'll then have notes on either of them, on each of them, showing me your facts and your proof. Now, if you're going to do a narrative, it's going to look more like sequence bubbles. So you'll start with your main bubble that says strains on the healthcare system, and then it will be a sequence of events going from one bubble to one bubble to one bubble, telling me what is going to be going on in your story. And then notes off that showing me what does that prove, why is that satirical, okay? So both of these are 2 totally different ways to approach satire, but I know you can do it and you only have to do one. Now, you'll notice at the bottom of the doc, I say important. Although we have discussed this before, I feel like I need to make mention of it again. Please consider what you are writing. Do not use hate speech towards any marginalized groups or any groups of people that you deem could be offensive. Yes, a modest proposal was ageist and a bit classist. However, it did not target and it did not put down a specific group in its discussion. In both of these, they can be meant to be informative as well. So a modest proposal, although shocking and classist, was also very informative in terms of what the British were doing to the Irish. Okay, so be aware that you can also be very informative as well, and don't put down any specific groups of people. I would really appreciate that, because after all, it's not going to read well, and you want to shock people into finding a solution. You don't necessarily want to offend them. Okay, now I'm here all day. If you have anything that you want to ask, please do so. I know that this might be difficult for some of you. If you are finding it difficult, do A, do a proposal, because it's just like a speech. If you are more creative and you want to challenge, try B. Okay, I can't wait to see what you come up with. If you're worried about topics, feel free to email it to me just to make sure that I'm okay with it, and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Okay, well, I hope you guys have a great day. Just remember, 4 weeks left. Woo! Okay, have a great day, everybody.